It's like, I would say it's 5% training and 95% nutrition when it comes to.
Welcome to the show, Justin Klein.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
No problem. So, what was the event or moments that got you into fitness and becoming a coach?
I've always been into fitness. I've always been active. I've always been into sports, and we'll definitely get into that. But there was like a moment in my life that changed everything. I used to work in finance. I worked in finance for like 20 years. I live down the shore in New Jersey, so I live on the beach in New Jersey, and I had like a rough commute every day. But I did what I thought I was supposed to do. Like, I worked in finance. I made money. I took care of my family. I was married at the time. I had a stepson, and I had my current son. He was 9 at the time, and I had an experience that shifted my whole life. My son's mother passed away when he was 9. She was 34. She was like a severe alcoholic, and I dealt with that for like a very long time. Like, I would go to my finance job at 6 in the morning. I would get home around. I would have to pick up my kids because she didn't have her license, and that was the reason she didn't have her license. So I'd have to pick up my kids from school at like 3 o'clock. So that was my day, every day. Eventually, like, enough became enough, and I had to put my foot down. And the way things were going, like, I couldn't have my kids be part of that, like be in the house with her the way that she was with her alcoholism. It wasn't just normal alcoholism. It was like morning to night. You know what I mean? So we got divorced. It was like a very rough experience, but she passed away 2 months later, and that was extremely unexpected. It was from the alcohol. She drowned in a pool. And I remember she was on life support in Florida, and I went down to see her. I didn't bring my son down. He was 9 at the time. And when I got back, going back into that finance job just wasn't meshing for me. Like, it just didn't feel good anymore. I didn't feel like I didn't want to do it. I just felt sick to my stomach with everything. And I was just tired of waking up and being miserable every day and just going with the flow. And I was working out. Like I said, I was always very active, but that's when things like really took a turn for me. And I wanted to help women that were in my ex's situation who needed the help, not necessarily with alcohol, but with just becoming like a better human, a better person, getting fit, getting their life in check, making better decisions, making better habits. And I did that. I did it. It was a very interesting process. I started in December of 2020. I actually started a little before them. I got certified with NASM. I got certified with Precision Nutrition. I took a couple of classes with Lane Norton in Clean Health, who was just on Chris Williamson's show. And the best decision I ever made was hiring a business coach. Because I worked in finance all that time. I got certified in training. I got certified in nutrition. I had all the info, but presenting the info online is a lot different than knowing the info. And it's a lot different than working in a gym. You know what I mean? I had the wherewithal to train people and to help them, but putting it out there online was much different. And hiring a business coach, I've been with my business coach, Brian Mark, since December of 2020. It's been a complete game changer because not only did they focus on business, they also help you focus on mindset and building your own habits. And that honestly can bleed into other parts of your life. You know what I mean? It helps you become a better coach. It helps you become a better father. It just really helps you show up for yourself more each and every day. So I've been helping women since December of 2020. I've helped hundreds of women lose weight. I've helped hundreds of women get stronger, build these habits. And my main thing, I like to tell them, and this is true, I am the last fitness coach you're ever going to need to hire, because I am going to actually give you the habit. I'm not just going to throw a meal plan at you where you can eat off the meal plan, and then, after 16 weeks or 6 months, you're good to go. You know what I mean? And then you regain all the weight because you didn't actually learn anything. You didn't build any healthy habits. My main goal, whether you work with me for 16 weeks, it's more for like 6 months and 12 months, is to build those healthy habits. So you have all the tools in your tool belt to be able to do everything yourself on your own. With the training and programming, it's a little bit different, but my main focus with nutrition is, because nutrition is like the whole thing, you know what I mean? You cannot work about a bad diet. You can, it's like, I would say it's 5% training and 95% nutrition when it comes to body aesthetics and stuff. Of course, you need to eat your protein and stuff, but you cannot train a bad diet. You know what I mean? There's just no way around it. And giving you the tools to be able to make these decisions, to know how much protein to eat, to know how much calories to eat. Carbs and fats, you learn that too, but that's not even the main focus at first. So at first, the main focus is calories and protein. Once we nail that down, then we get to move into the fats and the carbs. What does your body feel better on? Some people feel better higher fat. Some people feel better higher carb. And it's really like a game changer, because it's like the missing link that they were looking for once they can nail that down. Because then they don't have to worry when they go out to eat or they have a barbecue to go to. They can always make better choices and make better habits. And that's what it's all about. You know what I mean?
So how do you exactly pinpoint that missing link for women to crush their fitness goals, essentially? Because I've personally been struggling with, I go to the gym myself. My weight, I've been working with a personal trainer for the past 2 weeks, and my amount of weight I'm lifting just skyrocketed, but it's my eating. So how do you help people like myself in that situation find that missing link with their food? Do you split test a bunch of stuff, or do you give them meal prep, certain meals and say, try this one, maybe this one, this one?
So I give them, so I used to do meal plans when I first started. I found that they would get great results. Like I did that for like the first couple months that I was a coach, like the first like 6 months, like I was doing meal plans, and I would give them the meal plans, and they were seeing progress. You know, some would complain about like the meals, and I would switch them up, but they would leave my program. Back then I was doing I would focus on 3-month programs, and they would leave my program after 3 months or 6 months. They lose 15, 20 pounds. Then I get like a message, and this happened multiple times. I get a message a few months later. Hey, Justin, do you have any tips for me? You know what I mean? Like basically asking for tips because they regained all the weight because they're not on the meal plan anymore. And then they're like, well, can I get that meal plan back? Or how much would you charge me just for a meal plan? I quickly learned that that's not the best way to do it. You know what I mean? So what the best way to get the real progress that you need, even if it's just for a little while, like it's not like you have to track your food forever, but you need to track your food. You need to know what's going into your body if you want to see the results that you're looking for. People are very lazy. They don't like to track their food. They think it's very time consuming, but it's really not. You can do it. You could plan your meal. You can plan your whole day in the morning. It'll take you 4 minutes. You could log everything that you're going to eat. And then you're so much more likely to stay on point because of that. Because you're literally, if you want to lose weight, everything is right in front of you. If you want to go eat those Oreos, you can go eat those Oreos, but you have to leave space for them or put them on the sheet. You know what I mean? It's totally doable. But working with women, the main struggle was protein, them not eating enough protein. I would have, 120-pound woman come to me, and she's eating 30 grams of protein a day, 40 grams of protein, and that's just not enough. And they wonder why they plateau, and they wonder why they're skinny fat, you know what I mean? Which is being, small, but not having any muscle. And protein is just so important, and that is just so overlooked by so many women. And I just also do want to say, over the past month, I actually switched my business up a little bit. Now I am working with parents. I'm working with dads and moms. I also want to help that person where I was when I was struggling, when I was in this house and she was in this house, and I had to build up the balls basically to get divorced. It took so much for me to do that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to ruin my family, you know what I mean? But I had to do what was best for myself and for my kids.
I understand that sentiment where you want to provide what you didn't have, because like you said, with your kids, providing for them, I tend to find, I used to work in children's social services for a year. I tend to find that a lot of the time parents just don't really think about the kids, if that makes sense. It's like they have kids, it's like, right, well, they're fed, they've got all the basics, but that's it. They don't really go beyond that, if that makes any sense.
And that is exactly the parent that I'm speaking to right now. Because my son, like the hardest thing for me is like my son growing up without a mother. It's been like 4 years now, so I'm a lot better than I was 4 or 5 years ago about it. But, when she died, it wasn't like the pain of my loss. It was the pain of his loss because I never had to experience waking up without a mother every day. And he does. So I don't want anybody else to experience that. So if I could speak to the people that I'm speaking to now, the parents that I'm speaking to now, it's all about changing their habits and becoming better role models for their kids. Because if they don't change, their kid is going to be unhealthy. Or it could be a number of things. Like, I don't know what's going on in your house, but if you're unhealthy, if you're overweight, if you come home from work and you're too tired to do anything and you just sit on the couch and put on Netflix, your kid's going to be like that. You know what I mean? So what your kid sees is what your kid's going to do. So that is my main goal right now, is to help parents be better role models, to help parents get in better shape, to help parents make better decisions so they can have a better life with their children, and so their children can have a better future. Because that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? We see the way that our world is going, and we need stronger children.
Monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? With what you said about the Netflix thing. I grew up in care and I didn't meet my dad until I was 14. But whenever I go to my family's home, I can see the resemblance of my parents, my dad, my stepmom, and my siblings, and I can see I know what you mean. I can see the behaviors that get mimicked in them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get parents to flick that switch of, oh, what I'm doing is leading to a direct result of what my kids are doing? How do you make them go, ew?
So that is like a process. It's all about showing them, like you have to like put it in their face, like what they're doing and the impact that they're leaving, how it's not right. You know what I mean? And then it's just about building new habits, taking their kids out more, going outside with their kids, going on walks or bike rides instead of just jumping on Netflix. A lot of it though, like a lot of the things that I find, especially with men, is that they come home from work and they're just too tired. Why are you too tired though? Is it because you're going to stay up until 1 a.m. watching Netflix, eating, just like stuffing your face, like until you go to sleep? That you have to change your habits to make that impact. You know what I mean? Because it's just so easy just to stay in that mode. I was in that mode forever. But I had to change things, you know what I mean? Or else who knows where I'd be right now.
I can somewhat relate to that because when I went to uni, I'd come back, I'd just be too tired to do anything. So I would sit and play video games in the evening, or even not even then. Like I did most of it from home, and it just got to the evening, I was just too tired to do anything. So I would just like hop on whatever I was playing at the time. But I can imagine some parents watching this going, or listening to this going, well, that's all easy to say, just change your habits, but habits are hard, old habits die hard, as the saying goes. So with you, how would you start, or how did you start breaking those old habits?
For me, I personally changed everything around me. It was seriously like a light flip, like a light being flipped, like switched. But for that parent that says it's easier said than done, how much do you want to change? You know, do you need me to like literally push you into, because it's on you. I learned with my ex-wife. She was an alcoholic, and I tried helping her. I tried helping her. I quickly realized, like, you can't, no matter how hard you try, you cannot help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. So if my words, if somebody says, well, that's easy to say. No, it's you don't want to change. Like, what? Wait, would you like me to rub your back and because I will, like, I do that with some clients. Like, I have to give them that motivation, you know what I mean? But it's all on you. Otherwise, you know, shit's gonna hit the fan and stuff, and something might happen. For me, it was my ex-wife drowning in a pool, and her grandmother calling me on Bluetooth, like, and me picking it up on Bluetooth while I was taking my son to school in the morning. You know what I mean? And her saying, "Nikki's dead, Nikki's dead," and my 9-year-old son being in the back seat having to hear that because I picked it up on Bluetooth. You know what I mean? Those are the decisions you have to make in life. Either you could change your habit, or you can deal with something like that. You know what I mean? And yeah, that is like a little bit harsher, hopefully, than anything that anybody will have to experience. But you are the only one that can change. You are the only one that can make that decision to change. Because I tried getting her to change so many times. I tried everything that I could imagine, you know what I mean? And I couldn't get her to change because all she wanted was that bottle.
Sometimes the advice is stronger than the support. I remember when I was really deep into my addictions, at the time, nothing could save me. It kind of took me to grow up a bit, and then I made that switch. But I understand. I personally say I'm not a parent, so I'm going to speak to those who aren't parents or watching. I personally say if you want kids, build your life up first, then have the kids, because it's going to be so much easier then.
So smart.
Yeah, because in your case, you basically had to do it with your son born, still alive. In my case, I can do it before they're born. So it's like, okay, this isn't... So if I screw up on my personal habits, like, okay, this didn't work, I can pivot without them facing the repercussions of that.
Exactly. That is so true. And my son, I'm lucky enough where I've built a successful business, and my son has seen that, and he's seen what's possible. But if I had the opportunity if I was, single and starting over, the opportunity to do this before he was born would have been amazing. You know what I mean? Because I would have had everything ready to go, and it would have been a lot more comfortable. But I'm not complaining because I've built an amazing life since then, and he sees it, and he is like a beam of positive. Like my son Charlie, he just graduated 8th grade. He won one of the awards at the 8th grade for being, that kid that, everybody loves and everybody likes to talk to. And it's just huge for him, you know what I mean? Because he hasn't had it easy, and he's persevered, and now he starts high school next year, and he's crushed it. And I don't take credit for it, but if I didn't change my habits, he wouldn't be where he is right now. And that's what it's all about.
It might actually be somewhat of a benefit to him. I was just thinking, because he's seen you turn your life around, it might just, well, it's obviously rubbed off on him, but it might show that anything's possible no matter what.
And that's what I like to speak. I like to even speak about that in my content. Like he can do anything that he wants, you know what I mean? And when he was 9, like, he has a much better life now than the life that we had in this house when he was 9. Because it was very toxic when she was in the house. It's sad to say, and and I don't speak badly about her. I just speak the facts. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like sugarcoat things and say that she was like an amazing person those last few years, because family-wise, like family is so important to me, and it's important to me that you show up for your family. You know what I mean? And you have to do it, or else shit can hit the fan. You know what I mean? And shit hit the fan for us, and it's just now. I'm just now appreciating everything, if that makes sense. Everything that I've been through, and everything that he's been through, and where he is now and where I am now, because we've manifested this positivity.
Would it be fair to say that you got through the light at the end of the tunnel?
I think so. I think I got through, the tough part. I think there's some more lights to go through, but I'm all for it, and I'm happy. I'm happy to be where I'm at. I'm just so happy to be on this podcast with you, and that I've come out on the other side. You know what I mean? But honestly, it's all about my son, because that was my main concern when she did pass away, is his life,
They say your kids can be great motivators.
Yeah, kids are awesome. Like, my kid is my motivator, you know what I mean? I wake up for him, and he just makes me want to be better every day, because I'm all he has, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like all he has, so it feels good, you know what I mean? Yeah. And to see him like crushing it like a rock star, it just makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing,
And I get that. When it comes to helping people with the gym, what do you typically start off with? Do you figure out what they want, what they need? Do you figure out, or do you help them figure out what their fitness goals are in general? Because some people might come to you wanting a personal trainer but have no idea what they want.
I seem to attract the person that kind of knows what they want. The way that the way that I program things, like a lot of people like to program a lot of HIIT training, a lot of like CrossFit-esque type training where you don't give your body a break. The true progress doesn't come from that. I'm not shitting on CrossFit. I'm not anything like that. But when I like to program with strength training. I like resistance training. I like strength training. I like different phases of training. I like, rest times in between sets, because the goal is not just to burn calories. That is not just the goal. We're going to burn calories, but if you're just trying to focus on burning calories through your strength training workout and your training workout, you're doing the wrong thing. You know what I mean? So all my clients that come in, I see where they're at, whether they're beginner, whether they're intermediate, whether, they're advanced. And we chat before I do all custom programming. So if Jenny joins my program and I wrote Melissa a program a week ago, they're not getting the same program. I'm writing Jenny a program. I'm having her take pictures of her gym or like send me the info of her gym, so I know about all the equipment there. And I'm writing her a custom program, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, however many days that she can get it in. If she's working out 3 days a week, obviously the workouts are going to be a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But building it around a lifestyle that they can maintain is the whole thing. Because if somebody works, has a crazy job and, I'm telling them to go after work and work out 5 nights a week, it's not very sustainable. You know what I mean? So it's my main thing. I always like to start slower, even if it's 2 days a week or 3 days a week, because I just want them to hit every workout. Working out 3 days a week consistently to a proper program is better than working out 5 to 6 days a week and missing two workouts a week. You know what I mean?
It's a longevity that you've also got to plan for, isn't it?
And exactly, like they have to stick with it the whole time, because if they stop, the progress is going to fall off. And you got to make it enjoyable. You have to make them want to do it. Not everybody's going to love the strength training primarily. So for those type of people, I will throw in some hit-ish type stuff. I'll throw in some supersets or some stuff where like they're constantly moving, you know what I mean? But I still want to get them the best results possible, but they have to enjoy it a little bit. I'm not going to go tell somebody to go on the Stairmaster if they hate the freaking Stairmaster. I'm never going to tell somebody to run if they don't like to run. I mean, you got to find what you actually like to do.
Yeah, you got to make it enjoyable, or at the very least, tailor it in the way where even if they don't 100% enjoy it, they look forward to doing it. So otherwise, yeah, something.
As long as they don't hate it, they can hate it, because if they start to hate it, they'll stop doing it.
Now, that's something I've learned. You've actually got to, whatever you do, you've got to actually enjoy it to some degree. It doesn't have to be 100%, but it can be. But as long as you enjoy it, either overall, you enjoy some aspects, which keeps you going. That's going to do you a lot better than.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And that's like my best clients, that's the ones that keep coming back. You know what I mean? And like sometimes I'll have like a client sign up for 16 weeks or sign up for 6 months or sign up for a year. And they'll have life changes, and I'll write their program, and maybe they'll get a new job, or their son or daughter will have hockey practice, at this time. Then we just change up the programming. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll take a day. We can either take off a day, and I can add more exercises to the other days. It's just you have to make that part easy for them, because if that part isn't easy for them, they're out. You know what I mean?
How do you, because you mentioned about making it easier for them, how do you break down the steps or the resistance? Because if they've got, like, let's say they're working a full-time job, to use your example, they've got to take their kids to hockey practice, and let's say they have a cat which they have to take to the groomers once a week or something like that. Maybe they've got a Persian. How would you break down those barriers of resistance, make it easier for them to get in the gym or get to work with their fitness?
So the time, like unfortunately, like, we can't just make the time. We can't just invent the time. So for people like that, and it's something that worked for me, wake up an hour early, maybe set your alarm, an hour and 15 minutes early, wake up, have your clothes out so everything's ready to go before your kids wake up, go to the gym or do a home workout. You know what I mean? It could be 30 minutes, it could be 45 minutes. You get back and you're done. That helped me so much. When I first hired my business coach, like I was telling you, in December of 2020, that's when I first got into that world, because my son goes to school he goes to school right here now, right across the street. But at the time he was going to school 35 minutes away. So I was a brand new fitness coach, you know what I mean? And it was grind time, you know what I mean? We had to grind. So I would wake up at 3:30 in the morning. This was just like for about a year. I would wake up between 3:30 and 4. I would do my morning routine. I'd go for like a quick walk, get everything like ready for the day. I would go work out at 5. I'd be home by 6:30 so I could take my son to school, take him to school, come back, and then I would have the rest of the day to work on my business. Because if I came home, I could either work on my business or I could go work out. You know what I mean? And you just have to make those decisions. So I had to wake up an hour. I woke up like a little bit earlier every morning and got my workout in, you know what I mean? And that's huge. And like I said, it's just not going to come naturally. Like you do have to make some sacrifices, and you might have to sacrifice, a little early morning sleep. Can you go to bed a half an hour earlier to maybe make up for that? You know what I mean? But like, there are always sacrifices to be made,
Yeah, so what are you willing to trade for the things you want? Stephen Bartlett's got this great quote, which is the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Yes, I love that. I've seen that recently.
And the other one's always stuck with me because that would have worked so well when I was younger. Personally, it's like I was avoiding so much work, and it's like, no, you want this, you gotta put the work in. I'd also personally recommend, I don't know about you, Justin, that people look at what they can axe. So those sacrifices, what are they willing to drop? I would say those would be the first things to drop. Because then it's just going to make it easier for you. If you're like,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not really, if you say something, I'm not really into figure skating as much anymore, well, drop that because it's going to make life so much easier.
Exactly. I agree. I mean, and, cutting out a lot of the healthy habits is something that we do have to dive into, like I have a lot of people come to me and they're drinking, 900 calories of liquid calories a day, like between orange juice and Cokes and milk and iced tea. And so for me, that's the first thing I always cut out. I'm like, that's the last thing that you need. You don't really need that. You just need protein shake. If you want some milk, drink some milk. But if you want to lose weight, like if that's like your main goal is losing weight, cutting out the liquid calories, like it's like a habit that you're gonna have to drop. So that's like kind of like that. You know what I mean? I mean, you can still see progress drinking liquid calories. Then you're gonna be eating less food, and you want to eat food. You want to eat, nutritious, good food.
How do you get people used to the discomfort? Because I'm used to discomfort. Me personally, I'm used to discomfort in some way, but not so used to the discomfort when it comes to food, like I said with my overeating earlier. So how would you make that shift to someone who's maybe not in my position, where they're fine with carbs, they're the opposite, where they're fine with the discomfort with the foods, but not the discomfort of the gym, where they just can't get their head around the repetition of lifting those weights up over and over again?
So gym anxiety is like a huge thing, and it's not just that part. It's like a lot of them get bent out of shape. Men and women get something called gym anxiety. They think everybody's looking at them, and a lot of it is because the way that they perceive themselves. Like working with women for the last 4 years, women are so hard on themselves. What they see, like I personally have body dysmorphia. What I see in the mirror isn't actually what I see. I'm about like 8% body fat right now, and after I eat dinner, I'm like, what? I'm like, well, why do I feel pregnant? Like, I have extreme body dysmorphia, and a lot of clients that I've worked with have I've gotten over my body dysmorphia at this point, but helping women get over that is a very tough process. But stuff has been ingrained in our brains forever, you know what I mean? And like, for like a lot of time, like my goal is to get somebody to go wear a bathing suit to the beach. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are uncomfortable with that. I saw a guy, a man, about a 40-year-old man, about my age. I live on the beach. He was, it was this past weekend, out playing with his kids. He was, very overweight, but you wouldn't know because he had like, a giant XXL shirt on while he was on the beach. It was like 95 degrees. 95 degrees. His kids are like, building sandcastles. He's like standing there in the sun. And like he took his kids down to the water and, kind of like went half in the water with his big black shirt on. You know what I mean? And people are like, I understand that he's overweight. I understand that, but for him, people need to either get in shape or be okay with who they are. And being okay with who you are is like the first step to getting in shape, because you cannot hate yourself along this process. That is something that I learned with some of my first clients. You cannot hate yourself along this process, because if you do, you're never going to be happy ever. No matter if you hit your goal, if you go from 170 to 120, you hit your goal. If you hate yourself along the process, you're gonna be like, you're still gonna have that body dysmorphia. You're still gonna hate yourself, and you're still gonna like look for that next best thing. And that's what everybody is looking for. And sometimes we have to say, wow, I did a great job. Like, look where I came from. You know what I mean? Look where I was. Look at these habits I've built,
Speaking of fads and the next best thing, I know you've got quite a bit of an issue with intermittent fasting and fad diets. Can you explain why?
So fad diets and like all that type of stuff, I go in on them. Intermittent fasting, I'm not necessarily against. Intermittent fasting is something that I tried. I tried keto. I've tried everything. Like, I like to try everything. You know what I mean? We'll jump into keto, but first, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is great for a lot of people, but I'd say for probably about like 90% of the population, that like 16 to 20 hour window of not eating is not good. You know what I mean? Some people call intermittent fasting like, oh, I did a 12-hour fast. Like, you just went to sleep. You stopped eating at 8 o'clock and then you woke up and you ate breakfast. I don't look at that as intermittent fasting. I look at like 4 p.m. you start eating and then you eat till 8 p.m. and then you don't eat again till 4 p.m. the next day. That is where I see like a lot of disordered things happening. It's very hard to stick with something like that. I tried that, and I did it for a few months, and I was like, this is awesome. But then slowly but surely, it turned into a binge eating fest. I would eat my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, my snacks all at once. And it was like, you ever see those like Asian YouTubes of like mukbang? They're just like stuffing. That's how I felt. And at the end of the night, I told you, like, I'm like 8% body fat. I'd be like so bloated because I just ate like 3,000 calories of garbage. And your body isn't even supposed to eat all your calories all at once. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good for your gut. And anyway, I find it makes it like very disordered way of eating. Like I said, some people it works for, a lot of people it doesn't work for. And it just leads into that binge restriction cycle, which just creates more problems, because then that's the whole other thing they have to deal with. So I did that for a long time, and it was hard for me to get out of that. You know what I mean? And I remember the steps that I took to get out of that. I remember drinking bone broth for lunch for a few weeks. And then I started drinking my bone broth for breakfast and having eggs for lunch. But that was like a hard thing for me to get out of. And so when you see people saying, oh, just intermittent fast, you're like, especially coaches, like promoting it, like, you don't know this person. Like, if you need to know like a little bit about this person. This person has any type of eating disorder or binge eating, like, they're not the one to intermittent fast. You know what I mean? And keto, I could never get behind keto. I'm okay with low carb. Like, if you're trying to lose weight, like, you should probably cut out like most of your carbs, because you need your protein and you need your fat to survive. But completely restricting your carbs, it's just not something that I could really get behind. Like the whole butter and coffee thing, like, I was never like a big fan of that. You know what I mean?
I don't know what that is.
There's like a big thing bulletproof coffee. A lot of people swear by it, especially here. There's a lot of charlatans out there who have been in the fitness space for a very long time that are online. They've written books, and fitness information changes. Like the carnivore MD, the guy that like started this whole carnivore diet for the most part, recently came out and said how bad it is. It's just very interesting to see the blowback on everything. You know what I mean? And I just think with intermittent fasting, especially, it's not for everybody. If you have any type of eating disorder, if you have any type of issue with food, you should not be intermittent fasting.
Speaking from my personal experience, I actually did a 22-hour intermittent fasting for a week, and I know exactly what you mean when it came to the binge eating. That 2-hour window, I was just a pig.
Exactly. Like how much food can I stuff in my mouth? And like, I don't even know I was chewing my food at the time, because it was like, oh my God, what's the ice cream? Oh, I better get like the ice cream out. Like, oh, and sleeves of, I was eating like sleeves of cookies, and it wasn't, and no, that was like a personal thing probably too. Cause like the first few months I was on point. I was doing it great. I would still eat my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner, but then it just turned into like eating crap. I would still eat, decently, but I would eat so much more crap, Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you got goals, being bloated for, the next 14 hours, and then you're like, because then you get in that mindset, oh, I'm just not going to eat till 4 o'clock the next day,
Yeah, then I did that once, and I did this successfully. I ate too much one day, and I said, I'm not eating till 4 o'clock, but then you're kind of like, when this is 4 o'clock, oh, it's 4 o'clock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of misinformation within the fitness industry, because I've not heard about the carnivore diet, that guy who came out and says, actually, it's not a good idea, news to me. What are the most common and uncommon misconceptions about fitness that most people wouldn't know?
Like for me, I like doing things. I don't like going from 0 to 100. Like I've said, I've harped on building habits a lot in this talk. And that's what it's more about, instead of trying to change everything all at once. That's what a lot of people try to do, and they fail. Like from not working out to going out, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week. You know what I mean? Like, no, you don't need to go to the gym 6 days a week from the very beginning. I find that going from 0 to 100 just doesn't always work out. I also find when it comes to misinformation in the fitness space, there's just so much of it, because there's so many influencers out there. There's like influencers. And when I say influencers, I don't like consider myself an influencer. A lot of people would disagree with that, but I do not. I consider myself a coach. Like I consider myself a health coach. But you see influencers, putting their, here, save 20% on this protein powder, and that, they have it in their bio and like all that type of stuff. And they're spouting off information that isn't always true. You know what I mean? I think that is like the main culprit, just misinformation. You go on TikTok, you go on Instagram Reels, you see everybody getting stitched. Like somebody's, stitching one video and then proving them wrong. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to prove any video wrong just by taking out like a little snippet out of something. But the amount of misinformation online, and that's something that I like speak about a lot in my content. It's out there. You know what I mean? It's really, really out there.
I personally like to take the approach. Firstly, I don't watch any fitness influencers, which is maybe counterintuitive to me, but with all the misinformation out there, I just find it better to maybe not, because like you said, there's just contradictory, and I don't have the time to screw around. Right, is this one right? Is this one wrong? Vice versa. I just prefer to actually test it. If it doesn't work, scrap it. If it works, keep it.
And that's why you got to try to find the good ones. You know what I mean? And then once you find the good ones, you stick with them. You know what I mean?
Which exercises, speaking of testing stuff, which exercises would you, or workouts would you recommend for beginners to do?
For beginners, I think starting slow, is smart. But I think getting beginners into the process of compound lifts is going to be huge, because that is where they're going to see all their progress. So when you go to the gym, a lot of people like to go to the gym they'll jump on the treadmill. Yeah, jumping on the treadmill for 5 minutes is fine. You want to warm up. You know what I mean? You don't have to jump on the treadmill for 5 minutes. But a lot of people, they'll go in, they'll look around, they'll grab the dumbbells, they'll start doing some bicep curls. You know what I mean? Maybe that's not what you want to do. That's the last thing that you want to do. That's literally the last thing you want to do. When you get to the gym, you want to work on compound lifts. These are exercises that are working more than just one muscle group at a time. So squats, for example, a squat is working your entire lower body. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses. So a bench press, you're not only you're working your triceps, you're working other muscle groups. So you're getting more bang for your buck than just straight going for there. And plus, you want to save those lifts for the very beginning. Why? Because you have the most energy for those lifts. You know what I mean? So if you're like wearing yourself out doing this, you're getting way less bang for your buck than squatting first, or bench pressing first, or overhead pressing first, or even rowing first, because you're working multiple muscle groups. You're going to build more muscle. In turn, you're going to burn more calories eventually, as opposed to doing those isolation movements. And a lot of people it's not common knowledge. You know what I mean? So that is something that I focus on in my programming. I like to focus on 1 or 2 compound lifts each workout, depending on how many days a week they like to work out. But it's huge, you know what I mean? And that's how you start your workout, and you like put it all into that, you know what I mean? And then you still have the energy for the bicep curls at the end, or whatever, isolation movements you want at the end. But programming is huge, and a lot of people don't program correctly, and they're not seeing a lot of the progress that they could get.
Would you also recommend people use machines as well? Because personally, my weakest part of my body is my shoulders. Bad habits, basically, and poor life choices when I was younger. But I have it where I will do the machine shoulder press, and I can lift 30 easily to the point where I'm going to increase the weight. But when it comes to lateral raises, I struggle with 10 kilograms altogether. Would you?
It's okay that with lateral raises. So lateral raises, everybody's that is probably the one exercise that everybody lifts very, 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 very light. I don't really go above 15s, 20s, but because if you go heavy on that, you could really hurt yourself. You know what I mean? So lateral raises are awesome. I love machines. I personally love machines. I like free weights better. I like barbells and dumbbells and free weights better, but machines definitely have their place in every program. Especially if if you're sticking with me for 6 months, you're doing everything. You're going to be doing shoulder presses with a barbell. You're going to be doing seated shoulder presses with a barbell. You're going to be doing standing shoulder presses with a dumbbell, and you're going to be doing seated shoulder presses with a dumbbell, and you're going to be doing the shoulder press machine. You know what I mean? And yeah, you're going to be doing you'll be doing lateral raises, either with a dumbbell. I personally like doing lateral raises from a cable machine. So just get it kind of you have that holding it. It's just a little better, in my opinion, because you have that weight coming down. But a lot of people crap on machines, and they think machines are just for beginners. No, they're not. Machines definitely have a place in every program. You can really isolate a muscle really, really well, especially in a single arm movement using a machine.
I was coming at the question more would you recommend machines for beginners as well to build up their strength? Because they're not going to have to worry about, say if I was to do a chest press, and if I was to do it on the Smith machine, I can just focus on pushing up and down as opposed to just...
Yes.
This is where I was going with it.
As a beginner... Yeah, I get that now. So yeah, as a beginner, I do like to focus on machine work first, but I also like to sprinkle in some free weight stuff. I like to get them comfortable with the dumbbells as well. You know what I mean? So within the first 2 months of the program, 2 to 3 months, like I said, I usually write 12-week to 15-week blocks. But for that beginner, I'm very happy to start them on machines and a little dumbbell free weight type stuff. But second month, third month, I'm rewriting their program, and we're slowly replacing those machine exercises with the free weight machines, with the free weights, because you do get more progress using the free weights, using dumbbells, using the barbell. But whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced, I think machines are great. You know what I mean? Not as good as dumbbells and barbells, but I think they're wonderful, I schedule in some machine work into my own programming once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally get on better with machines because I can just focus on the lifting.
Mm-hmm.
It's because one thing I always have this in the back of my mind whenever I do like a not on machine or Smith machine chest presses. Am I going to drop this? Is this going to fall on my throat?
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. You want to spot me? Spot me. You know what I mean?
Or my mental.
But yeah, and with machines, like you can go super, super heavy, like heavy to failure, and not worry about having a spotter and about worrying about the barbell falling on your neck or, you know, on your shoulder and being like, help me. That you could load up the chest press machine, 200 pounds, and you either can do it like as hard as you can. You're not taking that risk that you would on the barbell, and you're going to definitely get stronger using those machines to increase your barbell bench press.
Which foods or recipes would you recommend for people looking to gain muscle?
Oh, I love that question. So I love supplements too. Somebody gaining muscle, like protein obviously is the most important thing ever. Most people undereat protein, meat, ground beef, chicken, fish, pork, veal, lamb, like whatever you're into, eggs, egg whites. A lot of us we'll just drink a protein shake, but getting the nutrients from these foods is so much better than just drinking it, just relying on a protein shake. There's nothing wrong with protein shakes. I drink one or two protein shakes every day. I'm going to drink a protein shake when we get off this call before I go to the gym. Because for me, I don't like having a lot of food. I had breakfast, but I don't like having a lot of food in my stomach when I go to the gym. I don't want to be focused on digesting. I want to be focused on crushing it. You know what I mean? So a lot of people will only focus on protein shakes. But when I come home from the gym, I'm going to have tuna with rice. And then, because it's very good to get a fish in there if you can. For me, I get it from this company called Safe Catch Tuna. It's the lowest mercury of any tuna. Getting those omega-3s is huge because the rest of the day I am eating beef, I am eating steak, and I'm eating chicken, and you're not getting any omega-3s for that. So I like to get tuna in. That's my fish for the day. It's pure protein, you know what I mean? I also like to get a good carb source in after my workout. I usually rice, but you can even eat straight sugar and be okay because that's what you're replacing, your body's replacing. But I like to do rice and chicken, or if I have leftover ground beef, I make a pound of ground beef every day, 93%, 92%, and I make a pound of ground beef every day, and I sometimes have leftovers, and I'll eat that for lunch the next day. But focusing on those high protein foods is everything, and focusing on white rice, that type of stuff, and of course vegetables. You want to focus on fiber. It all plays into each other. You know what I mean? So, and nutrition is everything when you come to working. It's the main game, the name of the game when it comes to seeing that progress. And if you're eating those healthy protein sources, the ground beef, the steak, the chicken, it's going to make everything so much easier because you're going to eat a piece of chicken this big and it's 40 grams of protein. You're already a third of the way to your protein goal for the day.
Got one final question for you. If you could only, for each muscle group, do one exercise for them. So let's say you could only do one exercise for the bicep, one exercise for the shoulder, chest, for your legs as well, for your back. What would they be? And here's the catch. They can't be compound exercises. So they can't target two muscles at the same time. They have to target one.
Oh, wow. Okay. So honestly, my gym just got a hack squat machine. They haven't had a hack squat machine, and that's primarily it focuses on some other other muscles in the legs, but it's primarily a quad. You can set it up so it just crushes your quads. That has been my favorite thing to do lately. As for some other exercises, I do calf raises. I like doing calf raises on a front squat machine. I can load it up very, very much. And you can really nail your calves. A lot of people don't even train their calves. Some people have good calves are like the one genetic area on your body. Like if you go to the beach, you'll see somebody with like giant calves and they won't even work out. And then you'll see a guy with like little tiny calves and like huge quads. You know what I mean? It's like, what is going on? But for shoulders, I personally love shoulder presses, but those lateral raises with a cable, freaking love them. I love shrugs when it comes to shoulders. For chest, I like dumbbell bench press. Like that is my favorite. I'm almost up to the hundreds, so I'm working my way up there. It's more about like stabilizing them than actually pushing them. It's like actually about like getting back with them. For back, my favorite back exercise is a row, which is a compound exercise. I'm very big on the compound exercises, like I see it. But like a row, a single arm row. So you put like one knee on the bench and the other arm is hanging off, and you pull up. And triceps and biceps. For triceps, my favorite exercise is a cable machine. It's like a one-arm tricep push down. So you are like holding the cable there and you are just like pushing it down, but it's single arm. So it's like with a single rope. And for biceps, currently my favorite bicep exercise is like a seated incline bicep curl. So it's like you're sitting like back kinda, and you're just, I've been loving that lately.
Is that with cables or with dumbbells?
You can do it with both. My gym right now, like my gym's like kind of switched over in the past couple of months. Like they've changed buildings, so I don't have access to that double cable machine to do it like that anymore. So I do it on a bench usually, and you can even do hammer curls with it too. You just, instead of going like this, you just move your arms up. You just do some hammer curls with it too.
Justin Klein, everyone. Where can people find you if they want to potentially hire you as a PT or just to get to know you some more?
I'm on all the social medias at J Klein Fitness. I'm on TikTok. I am on YouTube. I am on Facebook, and I am on Instagram. And if you ever want to email me, my email address is justinkleinfitness1@gmail.com.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, then we've got the entire playlist here. We've also got clips here. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.